more. So as we move down the road, getting parts and maintenance will always increase our cost faster than the truck that's in Ladysmith. There will be no resulting change in our ISO rating. When ISO rated Caroline County and changed our rating to a 4 and 8B, they realized that Caroline County, based on their statistical analysis, did not warrant a ladder truck. So if you read their report, Caroline County needs 0 ladder trucks by the ISO rating. By reducing 1 truck from that, will not change that rating at all. Because Caroline County uses a mutual aid system exclusively within our county and reaches outside the county for resources, there will be really no effect on the citizens as far as when we need an aerial apparatus. We still have one in the county. We're still able to reach outside our borders down to Hanover or Spotsylvania if we need another truck for a large incident. But based on our building types, the number of buildings we have clustered 3 stories or higher or more than 35 feet, we just do not have a need to warrant both of those apparatus. So this is, in my opinion, the best reduction we can have in fire rescue without impacting service delivery this fiscal year. When Chief O'Barry and Chief Thomas met, they discussed all the issues surrounding the 2 trucks, both response times, number of volunteers they had to staff it, hours that we're staffing it with career staff, and came to the conclusion that 1 truck was all that Caroline County needed. Ultimately, the decision to reduce the fleet and which truck fell on myself, and that was based on the age of the chassis, as I've explained. Myself and Chief O'Barry will be answering any questions if you have them.
Chief, do you have any idea what the resale value could possibly be for this vehicle?
We did call in an appraiser that sells aerial apparatus, and they gave us an estimate. They believe they can get $100,000 for the truck. I think it's important that we seek an organization that sells aerial apparatus that people go to versus going on an auction site or something else. Now, I will say this, from the fire chief's standpoint, I would like to see those funds from the sale of the apparatus come back to the department. I also realize the county has other financial impacts to look at as well.
And we borrowed the money to pay for that truck.
I understand, sir.
And,
I understand.
Okay. Other questions? Comments?
I guess my question is, do we still owe $260,000, or is that what we paid for?
No, we probably paid $500,000, $800,000 or something. I haven't got the number, but I know. How much?
I thought it was 5. Say what?
325.
Oh, 325.
So we still owe $260?
What was the last repair bill? Do you remember? The last repair bill for Tower 1?
We don't have it. Tower 1 is out of service right now, getting a new hydraulic. So the last one was a replacement on the heater core.
What about the current service? How much is that going to cost?
The current?
You said it's...
The hydraulic hose, minor repair,
oh, okay.
you know, $500 or less.
Oh, that's the ladder itself going up and down.
Just one of the hydraulic hoses on the truck. The issue you have with the ladder trucks that drives the operational cost up is to test that main ladder every single year. It has to be tested and certified, and that is expensive. Because those trucks are heavy on a heavy chassis, they do not get a lot of road time, and they sit a lot. You're always going to have some problems when they come out of the station. It's a 1987 truck, 2012. If we carry that truck to the end of our financing, it'll be 33 years old. 13 years beyond its serviceable life.
And you said that the Bowling Green chief wasn't available.
I spoke to him on the phone. Like I said, him and Chief O'Barry did meet and talked about it. They certainly would like to keep their truck, don't get me wrong, and the decision fell to me which truck to take out of service. And that one, based on the age of the chassis, in my opinion, is going to be the best one to remove from the fleet. It doesn't really have to do with where it's housed, just the age of the truck.
Right.
So.
But I mean, there was a lot of discussion when that truck was purchased about the need in Bowling Green to have that truck, and I was just wondering if someone from Bowling Green would have come and expressed that need again, but I guess that's not the case.
I think if there was a significant need, they would still be here pounding down your door. As I provided the data with you,
Yeah.
in the last 4 years, the truck has made it on scene less than 40 times.
38.
Yes, sir.
How about the Ladysmith truck? Because I know when we purchased the Ladysmith ladder truck, a lot of it had to do with the high houses that were being built in the new communities there, the three-story type of houses. What's the usage of that ladder truck? Now, I guess that was a newer ladder truck because I know we paid more money for it.
37.
It's slightly newer, for sure. You do have cluster development in Ladysmith. In my opinion, would I have gone out in the time based on that cluster development and purchased a ladder truck? My answer would be no. I don't think you have enough there to warrant that type of investment. You have those similar type of buildings in Bowling Green as well. You have downtown area, which is old, which is prone to burning, et cetera, et cetera. So in my opinion, you need one somewhere in the county. Based on the way we respond here in the county, I think it could be anywhere in the county and you still get the same utilization on the scene when you need it.
Okay.
I can't speak for the past. I'm just evaluating what we see today. We just don't have the large development you need to support that.
Okay. Has the board wish to handle this issue?
We don't have any choice but to move ahead and authorize it to surplus. That's my motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Thomas, seconded by Mr. Black, that we declare the fire and rescue ladder truck at Bowling Green as surplus property. Discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion is carried.
And we will provide the county administrator with some truck vendors to execute that, if you so choose.
Informational calendar items?
You'll see on your informational calendar item that
Yeah, it's going to go toward the debt service. No, the $100,000 is going back to the county, so if you want to use it somewhere else, it has to be a motion to do somewhere else.
you'll ultimately have to appropriate it wherever it'll be a revenue that we anticipated.
We all agree that it's going to be made for debt service?
We're hoping we're going to get 100,000. Can we get it sold? We'll bring that to you to appropriate at that time.
Good idea.
We have a 4:30 meeting for the 50-mile meal with extension on our 25th, before our 25th meeting of September is the main thing on the calendar. I did hand out at your place about 16 pages of emails. You read the paper last week that I was trying to remove funds from the school, or I'm not sure exactly how the headline read, but I wanted you to understand what we were trying to do. I'm not going to belabor by reading through all the emails, but from mid-June, we've been trying to, with our auditors and with our legal team, to get the schools to understand that they could not give $65,000, allocate $65,000, or use any other wording that $65,000 goes to a foundation. It has to be maintained in the treasurer. The treasurer of Caroline County maintains all public funds, whether they're county funds, utility funds, or school funds. And all I've tried to do, and you can read through the emails, and the emails from our auditors, is to have the money given back to the treasurer to be put in any account that the schools had control over, whether it be a fund for Bowling Green School, gym, or in their main school fund. Wasn't trying to tell them where they needed to spend it, other than they had to file a procurement, and procurement doesn't allow them to write a check to $65,000 to a foundation. It does allow the Board of Supervisors to, but that's state law. It doesn't allow a school board to do that. And as of today, we still do not have that money or even any agreement that the $65,000 is coming back. We will have a finding in our audit for FY12 of use the right term, but there's going to be a finding of not necessarily misappropriation, but a material weakness in handling of federal funds, which could affect grants for fire and rescue and other things of the county, much less for the schools. That finding's coming. The auditors aren't backing away from that because we have not been able to be successful, and you'll read the emails that have been sent with the schools on that. I also have a legal opinion that it can't be done, and I've shared both of those things with Dr. Killo in what I considered a negotiation, trying to have him understand what I was trying to do. And at this point, I've had no success. You can certainly talk to
Can we stop? Not pay anything else until that $65,000 is returned?
Well, what I'd like to do is see somebody from the board meet with the school board chairman, at least express that concern, because I'm not sure that that's happening.
I don't understand.
It hasn't happened to the school board members. It's happened with school staff and Dr. Killo, and I met personally with Dr. Killo several weeks ago and thought I had reached an agreement, and then it all, the newspaper was called, and I was trying to take money back away. That's clearly not the case, and these emails will show that, but it's still going to be an issue with our audit, and if we don't get it straight, it's going to be an issue with the audit in FY13. But I think from they believe they're right, and they can do what they want with that money. But
Mr. Chairman, could I suggest that since you're the chairman of the Board of Supervisors, and Ms. Carson is the chairman of the school board, you, along with Mr. Curley, sit down with her, and then invite Mr. Keller if he wants to come, but it's not an issue of something we want to do, it's law. We have to follow policy. And I think if we do it, if we go through that way, because certainly as chairman of the school board, she has the authority to direct the finance department of the school system to do whatever is necessary. But, I don't see any other way to do it. I mean, if you talk to him and he doesn't seem to understand, then you have to go to the next person.
I thought he did understand. I thought we had reached agreement. He was going to ask the school board to ask the foundation for the funds back, and it would be returned to the treasurer. And he even said, do I have to, I may not need it for Bowling Green, Jim. I said, wherever you need it, school funds. They were designated for your use, but they've got to come back to the treasurer. And that's been my whole point through this. And I don't know exactly why we're sort of still at a standstill. We had several more emails today that I haven't included with it because I'd already put this together with finance to their finance with a point-blank question, when are we going to receive the money? They asked us to make another appropriation, but with no commitment of when the money's coming back to the treasurer. And that's who holds public funds. But I'll gladly meet or meet with the school board folks or whatever you like. But
Go ahead. Set a meeting up. Friday, Thursday.
See, they can't.
You can ask Kilo to come. But certainly I won't. It's between this discussion.
That's the law.
Okay, I'm going to meet with the chairman of the school board. We're certainly going to invite superintendent if he'd like to come. Mr. Cully will be there. I've asked the meeting, try to arrange the meeting either tomorrow, Thursday, or after Monday of next week, and we'll see what happens. So the time we meet again, hopefully it's going to be resolved.
I've got two more things.
Go ahead.
We'd like to schedule a work session to discuss the public safety radio system. We do have an FCC deadline approaching on December 31st of this year that we would need to have filed a waiver from the requirement to narrowband. And so we'd like to have a work session in October, early October, late September. No, we haven't filed. We can't. We have to actually pick a solution of what we're going to do to be able to file that waiver.
Mr. Steele, you want to share your discussion with the rest of the board
Sure.
members?
Mr. Chairman, I did see the chairman of the Spotsylvania Board of Supervisors yesterday and actually asked her where they were in their procurement. They currently cover with their tower and their frequencies 50% of Caroline County by the consultant's own calculation. And if we could work out an equitable agreement with them in terms of how we could share their frequencies and their coverage, I think it could be a good situation for Caroline. I'm just waiting for their bids to come in. And they've been out for bid and they're due back and they're due to evaluate them.
We've actually asked our consultant to look at the coverage maps, and we actually have a better map for mobiles than that. I don't have the portables yet, but it was actually 64%. 67%. So we're exploring that option as well. But the problem with that, when they don't cover the whole county, you still got infrastructure you've got to build in-house, and that was the same thing.
And our other plus is the cell tower going up in Sparta will give us much additional coverage that we need.
Right.
And that is due to go live in November.
We factor in that into the things that we're looking at and all the options we're bringing forward. So
Okay.
if we can have a work session on it, we want to discuss all those things, including Spotsylvania.
Okay.
And then we need
Before
to
the next
schedule
meeting, you want a work session on this before the next meeting?
before the 25th or early. I think that's too soon. We'd probably still have another meeting or two that we've got to put together. But in October, we would like for you to be thinking about a work session, and so we could get that scheduled on the 25th. But I wanted to try to get you thinking about your schedules, and we'd like to have a water master plan work session in November. And I'm not asking you to schedule that today, but we've got these two things sort of on the horizon we'd like to have work sessions with, because they're fairly detailed, and it's going to take some time to work our way through them with you.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's about it.
Closing board comments, Mr. Black,
None at this time.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I've been serving on a joint land use study, certainly with Fort A.P. Hill and the local Bowling Green and Essex County, along with King George, Caroline, and Spotsylvania. And I'm just reporting that we have arrived at a company who is going to do this. And obviously it's grant money, but I just want the board to know we're in the process, and we're going to be setting up meetings where we're going to be talking about joint land use and certainly what things we have in common with Fort A.P. Hill, not just Caroline, but some of the surrounding areas as well. And I just wanted to report that we're working on it, and so you'll be seeing things perhaps in the papers and some of the things that we'll be talking about. There are several meetings that have been set up and are going to be set up. There's going to be public involvement and just an all-out effort to come up with some things that we can do as a community and the surrounding areas with Fort A.P. Hill as far as the joint land use study, how we can be of benefit to them and how we can work together and maybe solve some of our issues. So it's just informational right now, but I just want the board to kind of be updated.
Thank you. Mr. Underwood?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Seeley?
No, sir.
Mr. Thomas?
No comments.
I have no comments either. Board has a closed meeting this evening.
Ready? I move that the board convene and close meeting pursuant to the consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff exemption, section 2.2-3711, A7 of the Code of Virginia regarding specific legal matters requiring legal advice regarding Ladysmith Water Company, and the prospective business exemption of section 2.23711, A5 of the Code of Virginia to provide information to the board on potential business that is considering locating in the northern portion of the county, about which no previous public announcement has been made. And do we also have personnel?
Yeah.
Personnel is 22-7-37-11A1. So that's it. It's part of the motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Thomas, seconded by Mr. Taylor. We go into closed session, and you heard the sections we were going under. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. The board will now enter closed meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Mr. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Underwood. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. And the motion is carried. Mr. Black, do you certify that we only discussed in closed meeting the items that we indicated we would go in under?
I so certify.
Mr. Taylor? Mr. Underwood?
I so certify.
Mr. Seeley?
ISO certified.
Mr. Thomas?
I so certify.
And I so certify as well. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mr. Underwood. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Wait a minute.